Dear learners, welcome to this course. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the distribution transformer. I am Dr. Rakhi Sharma from School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. So learners, in this session, we are going to discuss about the distribution transformer. So transformer is what? This is a static device which transfers electrical energy from one circuit to another circuit. You know about the primary circuit to secondary circuit, which are not electrically connected but magnetically coupled. So we have already discussed the construction details of the transformer in our previous sessions. So you know that the transformer is a main part of AC transmission and distribution system. And almost the entire world production of electrical energy is transformed twice, thrice or even more before utilizing by means of the transformer. So transformer does not change the frequency of electrical supply. That means if in the primary side, if the supply is at 50 Hertz, in the secondary side also you will get the supply at 50 Hertz. So it is working without change in the frequency. So it means it merely changes the amplitude of the voltage from one electric circuit to another electric circuit. That means it can step up the voltage or it can step down the voltage. So transformer is a static device. So that means, what does it mean? There is no rotational parts, that means no rotational losses, and that means that we can get the high efficiency, up to the 99% can be obtained from this. So learners, let us discuss about our learning objectives of this session. So after studying this complete module of this distribution transformer, now you should be able to know about the classification of the transformers. Then we will explain the criteria for distribution transformer selection and placement, and you should be able to know about this. Then you should be able to identify the causes for the failure of distribution transformers, and you should be able to discuss the various methods of testing of transformer and describe the different ways of enhancing transformer life and efficiency. So let us see this figure here. This is air core transformer. You can see, as I have said, that transformer is what? Static device. From there is two electrical circuits which are not electrically connected to each other. Here you can see one coil and the second coil. There is an air core. This is an air core transformer. So for getting the minimum leakage of flux, to get the maximum efficiency, the core is made of soft iron. That means here we are using they are coupled without any this magnetic core in the air core transformer. But in the second iron core transformer, the magnetic coupling is through the this simple iron core, soft iron. Here we have used as a core material. So in the first case, when we use the air core transformer, you will see that there will be when the current flows through the primary side, the first coil of the transformer, then the flux will link with the secondary coil also, and there will be some leakage flux which will not link with the secondary coil. So what we want that this leakage flux should be minimum. So to minimize this leakage flux, what we do? We use some iron core transformer. That means the core material is used so that we can get the minimum leakage flux, and maximum linkage of the flux is possible with the secondary coil of the transformer. So advantage of the iron core transformer over the air core transformer is that first the Weber per ampere turn, or Henry of the, or we can say Henry per minute. This we can say here, this is what? Weber per ampere turn of the magnetic circuit is increased, what will happen? So increase the total flux linkage with the secondary coil of the transformer. So this permanence is what? This is analogous to the conductance. In the magnetic circuit we are using this term, but in the electric circuit we are using the conductance term. So this is just here permanence is just opposite to the reluctance of the reluctance in the magnetic circuit. So we want maximum flux linkage per ampere turn. So this can be achieved using the iron core over the air core transformer. Then magnetizing current or no load current is reduced when we use this iron core transformer, and then the minimum flux leakage is there. So these are some advantages. Now let us see the construction of the transformer. So various materials which are used for the construction of the transformer are, the first is the conducting material. So for this, the winding of the transformer is made of some conducting material. This material may be the aluminium, copper, silver. Then magnetic material which is used for the core of the transformer. So these material are silicon steel, nickel iron, and hot rolled grain oriented, then cold rolled grain oriented steel can also be used here. Then what kind of insulating material used in the transformer? So insulating material which are used for the insulating the winding with the core. That winding is not, because this is made up of the conducting material, it is not directly in touch with the core. So in between there is a insulating material we use. So it is also insulating material also used between the turns of the windings and between the low voltage and high voltage winding. And what kind of insulating material we use? So these are commonly used material, that press board, mica, then double covered silk is also used, then asbestos, then insulating oil, which is also called a transformer oil. So these are the insulating material which are used in the transformer. Now let us discuss about the classification of the transformer. There are various kind of transformer which are available. So we can classify the transformer on the basis of what? On the basis of construction. So this is a very popular kind of classification. This is the core type transformer and the shell type transformer. I will discuss it about this, what is this core type and shell type transformer. Then, so on the basis of the working, there are two kind of transformer: step up transformer and step down transformer. So you know that when we use the step up transformer and when we use the step down transformer in the distribution, at the distribution end, at the consumer end, we use the step down distribution transformer which convert the 11 kV to 400 volt. And that stepped up transformer, where do we use this? Like in generating station, we generate the electricity at 11 kV. Then this 11 kV is transmitted at very high voltage. Then to get the transmission at very high voltage, we use a step up transformer. So this is one kind of classification. Then on the basis of the application, power transformer and distribution transformer. Then on the basis of the number of phases, it can be defined as the single phase transformer or three phase transformer. We can also classify the transformer on the basis of the number of winding, that single winding which is called the auto transformer, and then the two winding which is a normal transformer, the primary circuit and secondary circuit which has. Then three winding in case of the delta connected tertiary winding transformer. And on the basis of the cooling methods, transformer are also classified, like air or natural cool transformer, oil immersed transformer. Then you should also know about that there are some special unit of transformer which are called the instrument transformer, like current and potential transformer. Why do we use this instrument and potential transformer? This is, I have discussed several times here, that to measure the current and voltage, these parameters, we use the instrument transformer, because we cannot measure them at very high voltage or on very high current. So in that case, to bring it into the range of the instrument, these kind of transformers are used. Then belt transformer, welding transformer, pulse transformer. So these are some other special transformer. So on the basis of the construction, the very important transformer are core type and shell type. So let us discuss the comparison between the core type and the shell type transformer. First of all, I'm just showing you that here you can see that core type transformer and what is the shell type transformer. This picture is just making you something clear, that the core, if I'm saying core, then what kind of core is here. This is the laminated core, laminated steel core is here. So here we have the hollow square through the center, and the winding is what, around the one limb, and then the second limb is there. So that means, and this core is made up of many laminations of steel, and which are insulated from each other. Then in the case of the shell type transformer, the windings are sandwiched between this middle limb of this. You can see here the shell type transformer, and these transformers are most popular and efficient transformer. And note that each layer of the core consists of E or I shaped of metallic section. Here you can see the laminations are there, that one section is E kind of section, the section is what, I kind of section here, metallic section, and which are butted together to form the laminations. And the laminations are insulated from each other before pressed together to form the core. So both type of transformer has its own use, and according to the application, these transformers are used. In the shell type of transformer, the windings are sandwiched between the core limb. So here I'm just giving one comparison of the core type and the shell type transformer. In the core type transformer, the windings surround the considerable part of the steel core, you have seen there. Then in the shell type transformer, the core surrounds the major part of the winding, and the winding is sandwiched between the limb. You can see in the previous diagram. Then in the core type transformer, they require less iron and more copper. If the copper is we are using here for the winding, so that winding is there, and then the iron is using for the making the core. So then in case of the shell type transformer, you can see that the both side the winding is sandwiched between this core limb, and it requires more iron but less conductor material. Then in the case of the core transformer, the flux has a single path around the core, while in the case of the shell type transformer, flux is distributed because it has a 3 limb. While in the case of this single phase transformer, we have seen the 2 limb only, core type transformer. So core type transformer has concentric windings, and in the case of the shell type transformer, this is sandwiched winding, we can say. The concentric winding which surrounds the core in the case of the core type transformer. So it has this core type transformer has a larger value of the leakage reactance, and in case of the shell type transformer, the leakage reactance is smaller because of the better linkage between the low voltage and the high voltage winding. So you know that there are various forms of the core cross section. Generally circular coils are used for the transformer winding. Hence ideally cores of circular cross sections are desirable, but it is very complicated to manufacture circular core. So in practice, for small transformers, square core, and for the large transformers, stepped core is used. So you can see here, this is the cross-sectional view of the this core, where you can see that how the laminations are arranged, and this is we can see here what stepped kind of laminations we can see, and this is showing the 3-stepped core. Similarly, the 2-stepped core. Then on the basis of the cooling used, I've said that this is a dry type transformer. It can be the oil filled transformer. So when we use a dry type transformer, this use the natural air cooling. That means they are usually very small rating of transformer, because rating of the transformer depends on the kind of the cooling we are using in the transformer. Because high rating transformer, that effective cooling is required. In that case, the oil filled forced kind of cooling is there. But in the case of the dry type transformer, because natural air cooling is there, so these are the small rating transformer, and they are rugged and simple in construction, and are plunged with. They are not plunged with the failure related to the oil cooling. So oil filled transformer are 2 types. The one type is what? Self cooling, and other type is forced cooling. Forced cooling means by means of something the oil is forced. So the self cooling oil filled transformer, this have the natural circulation of the insulating oil within the entire transformer is immersed. So these are of moderate rating and are suitable for the outdoor duty, as these require no housing other than their own, and thereby save on cost. For higher rating, either the smooth surface of tank is corrugated or is provided with the radiators, pipes to get the greater heat radiation area. Because in the high rating transformer, the heating will be more. That means the effective cooling is to be used. In that case, the radiators are used for the cooling purpose, or the pipes are provided on the surface of the tank, or even the surface of the tank is also made corrugated, not plain kind of. So then now in case of the large transformer, the large transformer require forced oil or water kind of cooling. So the coolant is circulated by a pump or to radiate what high quantity of heat generated, and for the cooling purpose, and to minimize the size of the transformer, because if we are using the radiators, that means it is also increasing the size of the transformer. So by means of some pumped circulation, so the effective cooling can be obtained. So learner, you know that the distribution transformer steps down the primary distribution voltage of 11 kV or 33 kV to secondary distribution of what? 415 volt. 415 volt between the phases or 3 phase, and 240 volt between the phase and neutral. So this is the distribution transformer. So in this complete module of the distribution transformer, you will study about the distribution transformer in detail, and covering the selection criteria, causes of failure, then test on distribution transformer, and ways of improving their life and efficiency. So let us discuss about the transformer selection and placement. So distribution transformer are used both in electrical power distribution and the transmission system. The power rating of the transformer is normally determined by what? Cooling method or type of the coolant used. That means if oil or some other kind of material, that heat conducting material is commonly used as a coolant. So I have already discussed that in the small rating transformer, the air cooling is allowed. In the case of the high rating transformer, the oil cooled forced cooling is allowed. So the rating of the transformer is normally determined by the cooling method also. So then the amperage rating is increased in a transformer by what? Increasing the size of the primary and the secondary winding. Then voltage rating. Voltage rating is these are increased by what? Increasing the voltage rating means increasing the insulation. the voltage rating of the insulation used in making of the transformer. So whenever we say in voltage, or that means the insulation is there. That means if we increase the insulation rating, that means it can withstand maximum voltage or increased voltage. So the criteria for selection of the transformer and its technological details, it depends on what? Depends on the intended use or purpose, working conditions and operating requirements. For example, a power transformer is selected in the sub-transmission level because it is consistently loaded up to the full rating in most of the time in order to obtain maximum efficiency at full load. Generally it is fully loaded all the time. So generally this transformer are used in the substations at sub-transmission level. On the other hand, distribution transformers in power distribution system are underloaded generally, and most of the time they are underloaded in order to ensure maximum all-day efficiency in expense of lower efficiency during peak hours. So now what are the criteria for selection of the transformer? So criteria used for the selection of proper rating size of distribution transformer is decided on the basis of the voltage rating, the size, capacity or kVA rating. The same things, if we say the size, we say the capacity of the transformer or kVA rating of the transformer, generally this is the same thing. Then number of transformer are used here. So on the basis of that, the transformers are selected and the rating of the transformer is selected. So first of all, just let us discuss the voltage rating for the selection of proper rating distribution transformer. So while secondary side voltage rating of the transformer is fixed at 400 volt or 415 volt, three phase with neutral available along with the three-phase wire in star configuration. The primary side voltage is decided by the voltage of incoming feeders. So secondary side, it is star connected because for the distribution purpose to the consumers, and the primary side is depends upon the rating of the incoming feeders, the voltage rating of this incoming feeder. So if there are more than one incoming feeders, the feeder for fixing the criterion of the transformer selection then be decided on the basis of the proximity of the substation. Whether this is the 11 kV substation or 33 kV substation, or the load delivering capability and availability of the suitable voltage transformer. So the number, steps and the type of tap changer that is on load or off load is decided by the operating requirement of voltage and current. Now the criteria for transformer selection on the basis of the size or capacity or kVA rating. So what is this? So kVA rating of or transformers, this decided on the basis of the some factors. What are these factors? If we say the kVA rating of the transformer, it should be some 100 kVA or this. That means it depends upon the existing load which is to be catered, which is to be connected at the secondary side of the transformer. So on the basis of that, the rating of the transformer, kVA rating of the transformer is decided. Even you have to check what will be the future load growth, because you cannot change the transformer frequently. So there should be the margin. So the future load growth to be absorbed. On the basis of that also the kVA rating is decided. Then margin of the future load growth. Then safety factor for the avoiding the overloading. There may be this overloading effects. Then in that case the component and the design of the transformer is that keeping in view of the safety factor. So maybe on the basis of that you have to see that for particular application what will be the safety factor, and accordingly this rating of the transformer can be decided. Then diversity factor of the load for transformer for different categories of the consumer. It also one of the factor which decides the load which will be served. which may play the role in deciding the KVA rating of the transformer. Then level of all-day efficiency to be achieved. Then number of transformers. How do they decide about the KVA rating of the transformer? So distribution substations are seldom provide with single transformer of required rating. Except the pole-mounted transformer, you have seen the pole-mounted substations. So, however, the reliability of the supply can be severely affected or severely affected if only one transformer is used, especially when it fails or when it is under maintenance. So, reliability of the supply increases with increase of the number of the transformers. So, in order to optimize the reliability and the cost involved, because if we increase the number of transformer, that means the cost involved is also increased. So to optimize this reliability and the cost involved, the number of transformer is usually kept between the 2 and 4. So transformers are required to comply with the latest edition of the IS 2026. So the size specifications for the purpose are here. I am showing the standard size of the transformer. In case of the distribution transformer, 11 kV by 0.33 kV or 11 kV, which is being stepped down to the 433 volt. So in that case, generally the KVA ratings are used 160 kVA, 200 kVA, 250, 500, 630, 1000 and 2000 kVA. These are some standard size of the transformers. Then other distribution transformer, 33 kV by 0.433 kV distribution transformer. For this, the standard sizes of the transformers which are used in 630 kVA, 1000 kVA, 1600 kVA, 2000 kVA, like this. So learners, now let us discuss about the placement of transformers. So in our previous session, you have learned about the high voltage distribution system, HVDS system. So transformers are usually of very small rating, 5 to 25 kVA, and provide the supply to 10 to 25 consumers only. So such transformers being large in number and very small in size, these are mounted on the pole at an optimum location and are provided with metering and isolating equipment. And similarly, the medium size self-oil cooled transformers are also placed in open space and may be pole mounted. The large size transformers are fixed on the ground with proper foundation and are enclosed within the premises and housing the associated equipment of transformers. Now the efficiency and regulation of the transformer. So you know that the efficiency is directly linked with the losses. So in ideal transformer, the power received from the supply by the primary side is transmitted to the secondary without any reduction. And this is because there is no power loss within the transformer. But in practice, what happened? There are two kinds of losses, the ohmic loss and the core losses. So ohmic loss is also called the I square R loss in the winding of the transformer, and the core loss generally happen in the this transformer iron core. So ohmic loss are often also called a copper losses, because these losses occur in the winding of the transformer and corresponded to the inevitable power loss that occurs when the current flows through the resistance or through the winding. So these core losses are the I square R loss in the primary side and I square R loss in the secondary side, we can say. So if the this RMS current is I flow through the coil primary side and the secondary side, so the total copper losses will be the summation of this. So on no load, when secondary is open circuited, then there is no current in the secondary winding, only the primary is energized and there is no current in the secondary side. So copper losses occur only in the primary side. Further, the primary current is very small, being equal to the excitation current, because there is no load. So consequently, no load, the copper losses are negligibly small. So when a load is connected across the secondary, load current is established. So as we saw earlier, this calls into existence a proportional current in the primary. So hence, as the load current increases, the copper losses increases rapidly. So core loss is often also called the iron losses. Remember this thing, and occurs because of the core is non-ideal. And in practice, transformers, the core is assembled from the silicon steel laminations. So when alternating mutual or this flux is established through this core along the plane of the laminations of the effective for the effective users, then voltages are induced in the core also. Voltage induced in the winding, but because of this alternating flux, this voltage induced in the core also, and this produce the eddy current. So and the ohmic losses associated with them. So because of the laminations are insulated from one another, this power loss is called the eddy current loss. It's quite small. So the laminations are, so why do we use these laminations? To reduce the eddy current loss effects. Then additionally, the phenomena of hysteresis leads to the losses of energy in every cycle of variation of the flux. So this is another source of the iron loss or losses in the iron, called the hysteresis loss. So these are the eddy current loss and the hysteresis loss. These are called the iron losses or the core losses. So these losses vary with the peak value of the flux density in iron and also with the frequency. So when a transformer is operated from constant voltage, constant frequency it is applied, the core loss varies only slightly from no load to full load, because the peak value of the mutual flux remains fairly constant. So the efficiency of the transformer is defined as the ratio of the power consumed by the secondary load to input power into the transformer primary winding. So because of the power losses mentioned above, the power consumed by the load or power output, we can define as a PO, is always less than the input power PI, which is taken by the primary. So if we designate the copper losses by PC and the iron losses by PFE, so we can express it like this. The input power, this is PI. PI is what? Is equal to the output power plus losses. So PI is equal to PU plus the copper losses, PCU plus PFE, iron losses, we can say here. So the efficiency of the transformer can be expressed as the PO upon PI. Here you can see here the PO divided by PO plus PCU plus PFE here, and we can write it like final expression as I am showing here. So learners, so far we have discussed about the transformer. We have discussed about the transformer classification, then selection criteria, then their placement, and in the next session we will discuss about the causes of the transformer failure and then the transformer testing. Thank you and happy learning.